Well, a very good afternoon to you all. Today is day 6 of our national lockdown, and I am Mark Long, rector of St Andrew's Parish in Newlands, and I greet you from the rectory entrance today. The Eucharist readings, which I've taken a little bit of time to reflect on, the one comes from John chapter 8 again, this time from verse 31 through to 47. It's an interesting passage where Jesus is talking to his disciples, specifically those who have come to believe in him. And it's an interesting passage because he's actually hugely critical in that discussion, or perhaps less critical than really challenging. They've come to believe, but he says in essence, you don't love. You believe me, but you don't love me. I've always been struck as one says the creeds that we always begin with those words, I believe, or we believe. Trust for me has always been intrinsic to that word belief. But in this conversation Jesus has with his disciples, trust has a lot to do with love. And for me, it just touches on the fact that when we talk in terms of our faith, it's not just about trust, but it's about trust in relationship, and relationship in which love is a very deep part. And so the question, of course, then comes, how do we live out that love? And how do we know it? In Jesus' own time and in this particular conversation he's having, Jesus is not the only messianic figure. There are others around who are starting insurrections and all sorts of things. And I suspect for many, there was a real challenge to know who was speaking the truth, who was the truth, and how much of it was fake news. I wonder what we called fake news before Trump. I'd like to think on that. And so I have a sense that, the disciples, as Jesus talks to them, they're questioning continuously what is right, what is true, what should we be holding to. I think many of us are finding that at the moment with all the messages that come through WhatsApp and on Facebook. What is actually true, what is fake, what's been put together by others just seeking to stir the pot, and our levels of anxiety at this time. What do we hold to? In the midst of it all, the reality is that the coronavirus is incredibly dangerous, and we need to be taking note of it, and we need to be protecting ourselves, and we need to be protecting others, which is what this lockdown is all about. But in the midst of that, that's the essential truth. In the midst of it, there is so much that flows around that. And we need wisdom in our own time to know what is good and what is right. But would challenge us, myself as much as you, in terms of today's reading, in terms of our own relationships with God, with each other. How is love seen and experienced in the beliefs that we hold? And how are we living that out in this present time, in this present moment? And to trust that God is with us and God is here. But part of it is just finding deep within ourselves that centered place where we really do just have a deep sense of knowledge, just knowing that this is really good, this is right, this is life-giving, this is creative. God bless.